Welcome to the Bear Talk, your go-to Chicago Bears podcast, where a father and son break down all things Bears. From Soldier Field to Sunday Showdowns, I'm your host, Dylan Weaver, and as always, joined by my dad. Dad, another thrilling game. Bears get their first playoff game in 15 years. Not only their first playoff win, but their first playoff win in 15 years at Soldier Field. On top of that, too, they take down the division rivals and the Green Bay Packers. We talked about in our pregame show leading up to this game. If the Bears lose this game, it'd be pretty split of the fan base, saying that the season might have not been a success if we lose this, because yes, we won the division, but if you lose to the Packers when it actually matters, then it could derail everything that happened this season. It looked like it was going to go that way at halftime, being down 21-3, but as the Bears have showed us time and time and again, they're a second-half team, and when it gets to that fourth quarter, that's what they're going to do. They're going to finally show up and play some football, but nonetheless, a huge victory. I was at the stadium, and the atmosphere was crazy, but there's a lot of talk about in this game, before, after, stuff in the week that leaded up to this, but what are just your initial thoughts watching the game? I know you went out to a pretty Chicago-friendly bar. I've been there a couple times myself, and that atmosphere is pretty crazy as well. So just your initial thoughts after watching the game.
I would just say this. I always believed from the beginning, and I think now the rest of the world is starting to believe with us, right? I mean, you can talk about it as a comeback win in the fourth quarter, but that wasn't a mistake. We've been doing it all year long. The Bears are for real. Caleb Williams is the real deal, and Ben Johnson, Lord have mercy, we got ourselves a coach. So initial thoughts are it's dynasty. I think I may have mentioned that word before. We have a dynasty on our hands here. And I know we just seen how the playoff picture just wound up for us going into next week. I'm sure we'll discuss that as well. But you know what? Bring it on. We've done it all year long. So just bring it on. And if we lose, I mean, we made it to the divisional round of the playoffs, and it's pretty remarkable. So I'm excited. Let's hear about you and your journeys, your trek to the Midway up there, and all the fun and exciting times you had watching this Bears game unfold.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely a day I'll remember forever. And it was, I mean, the drive up is always not fun. It takes some time, but just with the anticipation of knowing I was going to the game, catching up with some buddies, going to a tailgate, I knew it was going to be exciting. And, during the week, I was really nervous leading up to it. But I will say once the day came, I was just excited to go watch no matter the results. I was just excited to be back in Soldier Field, watch a game. And, I mean, it lived up to every single thing. We started this podcast this year with us. We always catch ourselves talking on the phone in previous seasons for 30 minutes, an hour, whatever it may be, just talking about the Bears. And now I gave you the idea. Why not? Let's just start a podcast. Let's do what we normally do on the phone, a little bit more of a serious level, but at the same time, still just having fun, shooting the stuff. But CHGO is a big podcast out there for the Chicago media. They do an awesome job. They got a great dynamic over there, and they host these tailgates every home Bears game, and went up there this week, and just shout out to them. They are some of the most down-to-earth people. Oftentimes you can run into quote-unquote celebrities or, content creators that have, a high following, and they can often think, they're better than everyone. But CHGO is far from that. Got to have nice 5-10 minute conversations one-on-one with every single one of them, take pictures with them. And it was just awesome. I mean, it's filled with the best fans in the world. We're out there all having a good time, just getting excited for the game. Green Bay sucks chants going everywhere. Some of the F Green Bay chants going as well. But, I mean, the atmosphere was absolutely electric. I mean, we're walking through Grant Park to get into the stadium, and you just see the snow start coming down. you get up to Soldier Field, and it is just like it's a movie. Like, it is absolute insanity. We finally make our way around to our seats. And I mean, I was mad initially. I really wanted to sit parallel with the field on the Bears side, like we did in Cincinnati earlier this year, but we ended up getting into one of the end zones, and it honestly might have been a better view. I mean, you can see the whole field, and on top of that, you can really see who's open, who's not open, in real time while you're watching the game. And the craziest part to me, my biggest two takeaways from being in the stadium: one, you Packers fans should be disappointed because you guys didn't show up. I mean, there was tickets available. I didn't buy my tickets till Wednesday night, and I thought for sure it would be pretty. I thought the Bears would obviously be favored in the standout because it is their home field, but I mean, seriously, there was barely any green in that stadium at all, and Packer fans should be disappointed. That's a quick drive for them. It's about 2.5, 3 hours um, down to Chicago, and they did not show up. I don't know what it was. And then my second takeaway would really just be the crowd. I mean, the Bears are down 21-3 at halftime. You would think all the life in us fans would be, sucked right out of us. Here we go, same old Bears type stuff. And literally the Bears end up, the Bears fans still, the start of the third quarter, they are waving these towels they handed out, going bananas like the Bears are ahead by 20 points trying to affect the crowd. So it was honestly unreal to watch. But I mean, shout out to the fans, shout out to everyone that showed up, whether that's tailgating, whether you're watching at a bar with your friends and family. But in the stadium, I'll tell you one thing: those fans showed up. It didn't matter what the score was, and it felt like the fans took on the Ben Johnson and his players and what they believe in that the game's never over until it's over. And that's how the fans responded, which was really cool to see. And I mean, it was a once in a lifetime experience. It was crazy. And I'm just glad we slayed the dragon and we got him off the back. This is our division now. Everyone's running and is going to be running and gunning for us. But to finally take them down, Ben Johnson said it earlier in the year: I like being Green Bay twice a year. And, he ultimately split 1-1 in the regular season, and people thought, he wasn't going to get both the wins. Well, he did get both of them. He beat Matt LaFleur twice a year. So the atmosphere in the stadium was crazy. Wish you guys could have been up there, but I know you guys are getting ready to move and you got a lot of stuff going on, but who knows? Maybe they're in the NFC Championship game in a couple weeks and we figure out a way to get up there again.
Absolutely. I got to say, you talked about, when you called and said, hey, you want to do this podcast? And I would tell you what, I cherish every week that we get to spend, an hour to 2 hours together, just shooting the breeze about the Bears or whatever's going on. But it was pretty awesome yesterday watching you get to meet some of your, I would call them your idols. Because as much as you do watch CHGO, in fact, you turned me on to that podcast a few years back when you had got out of college and came home. So now I naturally kind of watch them when I can. I preferably listen to a different show in the morning when I'm driving, just because it's easier for what I do for work. But I would tell you to see your face and all those pictures you kept sharing when you met each one of them. That was pretty awesome to see that look of excitement on your eyes, kind of like a kid on Christmas, right? And
What it felt
so
like.
that was pretty darn cool. And then nothing topped it off compared to the end of the game when you FaceTime Papa and Mama Bear when we're watching the game ourselves in the end of it. And just the emotions you were going through and being able to understand that by seeing that on your face. So uh, truly awesome year. One, even if they lost and the season was over, it'd just be an awesome year that we get to hang out this much. But the icing on the cake is the Bears had the season that they've had, and we're not done. We're not done, which is so exciting to do that. So, um, I think it's electric. I mean,
Yeah.
what they've done is amazing, and I think it's gonna only gonna continue on for the years to come. And what about that number one draft pick in Colston Loveland? Holy
Yeah. Before we
cow.
hop into the players, I do want to talk about a little bit more stuff regarding more so these coaches in this matchup. Because there's been a lot of heated tension on Twitter this morning and late last night after the game. But real quick, too, before I even head into that, yeah, I mean, the emotions were running high. There was a lot of people in there. Like some people obviously have the natural reaction, just jumping for joy. There's other people like me that were out there, I mean, shedding tears. Like it means a lot when you watch this team as much as I do, and you're invested as much in the amount of years we've been let down and not lived up to a fan's expectations. For Ben Johnson to come in here and do this year one, it just meant a lot. And I think that the cherry on top was just the way we did it. Like if we just beat them the whole game, I don't know if I would have, shed some tears. But I mean, being down 21-3, you're down 18 points, or I think it was 18 or
18,
16 points to start the fourth quarter. And the
18
Bears
points.
scored 25 points in the fourth quarter. I mean, it was honestly insanity. But at the same time, it really wasn't insanity because we've been doing it all year for the most part. In some of
Yeah.
these games, we've done it before. But
The
to do it,
craziest the craziest number though, just to jump in real quick, in the fourth quarter alone, he threw for over 200 yards.
I
I
mean,
mean,
he was
in one
doing,
quarter, 200 yards of offense thrown by him and those receivers catching the ball. Um, it's just, it's insane.
yeah, I'm telling you, it was insanity watching it. Like, it honestly kept feeling like before Matthew Golden scored, it really did feel like, okay, I fully believe the Bears are about to win this game. But when Matthew Golden scored and they went back up 11 points with 5.5 minutes left, there was like, we're all sitting there like, okay, that might have actually been the nail in the coffin. Like it was starting to set in. And then here comes Caleb Williams with arguably the best throw. I mean, when you break down the circumstances, the moment of the game, it being a playoff game, it might go down as one of the best throws in NFL history. 4th and 8, gotta have it. 5 minutes and 30 seconds left in the game, and you're down by 11 points. And here he is, rolls out to his left. He jumps because a guy is about to sack him. His feet aren't even in the ground and throws a 25 to 30-yard ball to Roma Dunze, who I'll tell you firsthand too. Rome is definitely still hurt. He's out there just giving 100% on a couple of those outbreaking routes. Caleb would throw him a perfect ball, but then when Rome would come out of the break, he wasn't getting off because of that plant foot with what he's dealing with in his foot. You could just really tell he's a little behind, but he's giving his all out there. But that's what I'm saying. Rome not having really that big of a game. Caleb was doing everything he could, and just to see that, I mean, in the stadium, it didn't look that crazy because from our vantage point, it looked like it was just wide open. But then you go watch the broadcast view back. Like, there was 3 guys around Rome, and Caleb put it right in the spot where only Rome could catch it on a 4th and 8. So it was just crazy. And honestly, too, for as bad as the defense played in the first half, we got to give them a shout out too. The second half, it was night and day. My only thing is just like for both the offense and defense, where was this the first half? Like we have to figure out a way going forward, because if they can figure it out for 4 quarters, I mean, the Super Bowl is a reality. Like it
Yeah.
actually is a reality. But
I mean, he could throw for 800 yards if he did that for every quarter. But
like
real
it's
quick
insane.
on that play real fast that you're talking about to Rome with the 4th and 8. Remember a while back, I don't know, it's been a while when Caleb finally started to come into his own, and I kind of said he's like Neo in the Matrix. He's starting to believe in himself and what he can and can't do. Basically, there's nothing he can't do. But that play in the position his body's in with his legs kind of straight out, he's sitting up and then throwing the dot to Rome. That literally was Neo in the gun battle scene with the agent, as he's dodging bullets, and It's just crazy. The guy's amazing.
And the craziest part too is there is also he's already an established athlete, but he is a Chicago legend, and his name is Michael Jordan, and he got that Jumpman logo, and it's the same thing. Caleb's doing the same exact pose while he's throwing the football, and I mean he's got a long way to go to get to that legacy, but I mean for 2 years in, I mean this year he has shown like this quarter, he's a force to be reckoned with. And I don't like doing comparisons to other quarterbacks because I think Caleb's one of one, but I really do feel like he is going to be a problem in this league for a while, like a long time. And just as much as people don't want Patrick Mahomes having the ball at the end of the game and Aaron Rodgers, I think Caleb Williams has already established himself in that category. Now he has 6 game-winning drives in under 2 minutes in the regular season, and now, his first playoff game, he does it again. I mean, dude, this guy is clutch. He's ice. He's everything and more. Like, the sky's the limit. You hear it from his teammates after the game. I mean, they asked Rome after the game, was that the best throw Caleb made all year? And he goes, well, yeah, until next week. And he does something crazier. Like, it's literally like that. Every week, it's just you see something else on tape and you're like, well, no, that's his best throw. Like, this kid is insanity. And you have to remember this is year 2. And it's really, in all reality, it's really year 1 because his real year 1 was part of the Bears organization that we've known, but not getting him the right coach when you got a special talent and sticking with Eberflus. But it all happens for a reason. The stars all aligned to this point, and it's gonna be fun.
Can we call it his redshirt year?
Yeah, I mean, it really was. I mean, he played, and he still listen. The craziest part is he didn't get credit, but he still had a good rookie year with all the circumstances considered.
And on top of it, he's beat the Packers now
3 out of 4 times.
3 out of 4 times. And
well, actually, it's 3 out of 5. It's 3 out of 5.
But from last year to the last game of the season last year to now, I mean, it's 3 out of 4.
And if you really want to point out the tide is starting to shift in this rivalry to the Bears' favor, yes, Green Bay still has the overall. I think now they're 8 or 7 something games ahead of us still, which we got a long way to go to catch up. That will take a couple of seasons if we are perfect. But the point is this: the Bears, every 4 matchups, the Bears haven't won 3 out of the 4 matchups since 2006, 2007 season. Yep. So that should just tell you all you need to know, that the tide is shifting. Yes, it's crazy. All the games Caleb has played in against the Packers in his career, they literally have all come down to the last play of the game, including yesterday. Literally every play. Yep. Last year, it was a blocked field goal that Green Bay, they blocked on the last play of the game. Then Cairo Santos hit a walk-off, and then the 2 regular season game this year, the overtime. Then on top of that, the game the Packers won, they sealed an interception on the last play of the game. And then this game, the Bears defense comes up huge, stops the game. So it's been neck and neck. The rivalry is 100% back. It's not just Green Bay walking in knowing they're getting a free win. But the Bears are going to edge them out this season, and hopefully for the rest of the seasons to come while Caleb Williams is here. That's for sure. But let's hop into it. I really want to talk about this coaching stuff because I see it a lot out of these Packer fans, and I'm not going to lie, even some of the Chicago media is a little mad at Ben Johnson, and I'm honestly just I don't understand it. It makes no sense. And it all started from that handshake last night after the game. I didn't see it in real time because, like I said, I'm over here, got tears rolling down my face. I'm not paying attention to any of that crap. But I watched it back late last night after we got back to my buddy's house, and you see Ben Johnson kind of do what you would call a drive-by. He quickly goes up there, shakes his hand, and walks off. And you can kind of see Matt LaFleur, like, he turns and looks like he's about to go chase him down. And, like, his assistant, all these coaches have, like, an assistant that follows them, like, kind of like a security person. And his security person kind of pushing, like, hey, come on, let's get out of here. And I'm just going to say this. Go watch all their handshakes this year. They've all been like that. And by the way, too, if you really want to understand that this isn't that bad, go look what Dan Campbell did to Ben Johnson in week 2. The guy that coached under Ben Johnson and brought Detroit Lions back to life. Dan Campbell did the same thing to Ben Johnson week 2 at the start of this year. And my whole thing is too, let's go back earlier in the week. Yes, Ben Johnson, his opening press conference said, I do like being Green Bay 2 times a year, so I'm glad I'm still in the division. Yeah, he took a little shot in his press conference before the season started. But leading up to the week, he was nothing but class. He said, I got respect for them. They're a good football team. And then you got not just players from Green Bay, because players are a different story. Players are going to say what they want. They're going to run their mouths. But their DC got on the podium this week. The Packers DC, Jeff Hafley, got on the podium this week and said, I'll see you guys next week. This isn't going to be the last game. Pretty much guaranteeing a Packers win. That is more than just talking trash. That's to another level. So don't cry now that Ben Johnson did a little drive-by on a handshake. You don't get to, I don't know what you want to call, burn bridges and then be like, oh, actually, I want to have a talk with you at the end of the game. No, that's not how that works. And let's take this to the other extent of Ben Johnson in the locker room afterwards saying, F the Packers, I hate Green Bay, F Green Bay, to his team. First off, for all you guys out there, the NFL just recently in the past couple of years started recording these post games inside the locker room. And Olin Kreutz, a longtime Bear, he literally tweeted out, he said, if you don't think coaches weren't saying this before cameras were on them, you're dumb. It happens in every locker room. Coaches swear all the time. And on top of that too, let's not forget all the times Aaron Rodgers on our team, I still effing own you. I own you. Like, let's relax a little bit on a little bit of a drive-by. And the last point is this, for all you viewers at home, I don't know if they showed this on the broadcast, but at the game, about 20 minutes before kickoff, all the Packers players stood on our logo and there was a scuffle, but the Packers jumped on our logo at midfield and started twisting their feet in our logo, pretty much saying, like, marking their territory. This is our field. Essentially, we own you. So after the game, don't expect some friendly little handshake and, oh, good game, great season. No, that's not how it's going to be. And Ben Johnson's never been like that. So for all these people saying he's classless, get the heck out of here. You guys do a bunch of stuff. How much crap did we have to go through every year when we lose to you guys? F the Bears, blah, blah, blah. Now we do it and we're on top and you guys want to be like this? Come on, man. Like, let's be for real.
Yeah, I'm not going to give it much attention. I mean, here's the way I look at it. When you're at the top, you're going to get a lot of criticism, and you can either listen to that noise or you block it out and you just focus on winning football games. So if I'm Ben Johnson, if I'm Caleb Williams, if I'm the Chicago Bears, even if I'm the Bears media and fans, block that noise out. You focus on your next week's team, which is the Rams. It is what it is, whether he shook his hand, whether he bowed down to him, whatever it may be. At the end of the day, I don't care. Put W's up and let's move on to the next round of the playoffs and see where we can take this thing to. And on top of it, too, like, I guess if we were losing, maybe those handshakes were better. I mean, I don't know. I guess when you lose, maybe the handshake matters more. I don't know, but let's just keep winning. Let's focus on winning.
I mean, I'm only bringing it up too, though. Like I hear you say block out the noise, but you heard it in Ben Johnson's press conference because he got asked about it, why he kind of did it, and he said we heard the noise up there. Like they hear this stuff. As much as you think these players can stay off of, so they see everything, just like we all see it, and I like it. I love that they feel that because when I played college sports, there was podcasts out there that would talk and do all their stuff. I'd hear stuff around the block of certain coaches saying stuff about me, and you always run your mouth. You back it up, you use it as fuel, and you play with it. And I love that they do that. You should play with that chip on your shoulder when you got a little something more to play for than just a football game. It just adds fuel to the fire, and you're just feeding a bear. It's kind of funny, but literally you're feeding a bear to go kill you. And that was the kill shot. And I'm glad they're out. You guys, Green Bay, now you deal with a long off season. You're going to have to listen to all the Bears fans out there that are going to antagonize you just like you guys did to us all off season. Oh, the Bears think they want another off season. Just wait till the season starts. Well, we're here. And guess what? We're going to the divisional round while you guys are headed to Cancun. But I just wanted to address that real quick before we hop into everything. But let's hop into the game. I know you were kind of bringing them up early, but I think it's another fair thing to bring up. You were talking about Colston Loveland, and I mean, dude, there
Real
is
deal.
serious contention about Colston Loveland, and that whole Tyler Warren Colston Loveland thing. Let's just put it to bed. I think they're both going to be great players, but Colston Loveland was the right draft pick for this offense,
Yeah.
and we should never question. I think one thing after this year, we should never question what Ben Johnson wants on his offense, because between Luther Burden, Colston Loveland, Kyle Monangai, I mean, Ozzie Trapillo, like, he knows what he's doing, and all the rookies on offense have been an absolute hit this year. But it's actually been crazy. I just want to read you Colston Loveland's last 3 games. Against San Fran, 6 catches, 94 yards, a touchdown. Against Detroit last week, 10 catches for 91 yards and a touchdown. Yesterday, in the biggest game of his rookie career, 8 catches, 137 yards, and he obviously had that 1 2-point conversion. But man, oh man, watching that in person, it's given me flashes of, you can pick any top tight end in the league. You can pick the Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes. You can pick the, George Kittle and all the quarterbacks he's had. But I mean, Caleb Williams and Colston Loveland, they got some special type of connection brewing, and you love to see it, because as those players I just mentioned, those top offenses that are usually on top of the league, they have that elite tight end that can separate. It's kind of like another receiver the whole time on the field, and Colston Loveland is that guy.
Yeah, he's pretty exciting to watch. I tell you what, I was one of the people too when we drafted him. I'm like, what are we doing? But I think I even said, like, it's like when we drafted Brian Urlacher, right? I'm like, who's Brian Urlacher? What are we doing? There was obviously this other person that we should have drafted. And by the end of the year, you're like, oh, wow, this is amazing. Colston Loveland is awesome. I mean, his personality, obviously his sense of humor from the beginning of the year to his performance throughout the season, learning the offense. There's a couple other rookies that had some opportunity running some routes, I believe, in yesterday's game. But clearly Colston and Caleb are on the same page. Maybe it's the CC connection, where he's putting in the work, he's putting in the time, as Caleb has said, and it's paying off. I mean, it's unreal. And you always want that tight end. And you mentioned some of the greats, and you're like, wow, I wish we had a tight end like that. We got him. I mean, it's unbelievable in what we got in Colston Loveland. So on to next week. Let's see what he does.
I mean, dude, it's absolute insanity, man. And it was crazy. Like, you got to think back, like you just said, to the draft. I mean, we were all kind of on the same page, and this is where we should have. I think I said it after my initial reaction. When I called you, I think I remember saying, we just got to trust Ben Johnson. This is his Sam Laporta. This is who he wanted. And it just goes to show you another reason to trust Ben Johnson. I mean, he knows what he needs. He knows what he wants. And that's why he's the head coach and getting paid $13 million a year to be here. Because, I mean, in reality, like, you got to think back to the draft too. Listen, Colston Loveland had that shoulder injury, and they knew he wasn't going to be ready for training camp. And all those stupid draft boards out there had Tyler Warren above him in that tight end position. And Ben Johnson said, you know what? No. I like Colston Loveland. This is what I see out of him, and this is what I envision him. And guess what? Oh, by the way, this is what he's going to do. And he finished with over 700 yards. He didn't have his first NFL catch till week 6. Like, this guy's going to be a stud. He's going to be a consistent 1,000-yard receiver every year after this. Like, he is a force to be reckoned with. He's got strong hands. He's had a couple of drops, but for the most part, this guy runs great routes, gets the separation he needs, and he has great hands. And Ben Johnson alluded to it in his press conference yesterday after the game, getting asked about Colston Loveland. He said he's one of the first people there, and he's one of the last people to leave. He said sometimes Ben will go in the cafeteria where they eat and go eat breakfast there. He'll see Colston Loveland sitting by himself, just going through the playbook, going through plays in his binder. And I mean, dude, for a rookie to come in and do that, that just shows, how bought in he is. A lot of rookies can get caught up in the fame, the success, the early money, and he's just there like this is it. This is all he has. And that's how people should approach it, is like he has. he's not going to let this opportunity go to waste. He knows it's a very rare opportunity to be in the position he's in, and he's taken full advantage of it. So just proud of Colston Loveland, and dude, he's been absolutely massive for us down the stretch here. And honestly, if it meant not seeing him catch a ball for 6 weeks to get to this point and seeing him come on the scene, it's perfect. I mean, he's a great player. Super excited to have him. But I know you wanted to talk about him, and he deserves all the talk he gets just as much as we talk about Caleb Williams because he's been amazing. But as we do in our pregame shows, let's just go through some of the stats of the game. We'll go over real quick the game stats, or the team stats, I should say. Bears offense, total yards 445 to Green Bay's 421. Bears had 2 turnovers and the Packers had none. That is an interesting thing maybe we can talk about hereafter, but the Bears did force 3 fumbles. The Packers were just lucky and jumped on every single one of them. One of the fumbles, we literally just kicked it out of bounds, but that's a different story. First downs, Bears had 24 to the Packers 21. Penalties, 2 penalties for the Bears for 5 yards, 7 penalties for the Packers for 65 yards, which is another thing we'll get into. I do want to give a shout out to the refs. They, for the most part, let the boys play.
They let them play, yeah.
They didn't take it into their hands, which was good to see because it shouldn't be like that. Third downs, 10 for 19 for the Bears to the Packers, 6 for 15. Fourth down conversions, Packers were 3 for 3. The Bears were 2 for 6. Red zone, Green Bay 3 for 3. The Bears 2 for 5. Time of possession, the Bears won the battle 32 minutes and 30 seconds to the Packers 27 minutes and 30 seconds. So ultimately, Bears pretty much dominated outside of fourth down conversion and then the red zone, but everything else the Bears were in favor of. But yeah, I mean, maybe we can just start with there. We can start with those turnovers. I mean, the defense, we usually live on takeaways, and to see us win this game without getting a takeaway was definitely cool to see. But they gotta work on some of these fumble drills. I know sometimes they just get lucky, the ball bounces in your direction, but that one where Matt LaFleur calls kind of a Ben Johnson-esque play, lines up an extra tackle as a receiver. They throw it to him, and I forget who came in. I don't know I think that one was Kyler Gordon. He came in, punched the ball out. The lineman kicks the ball, but he kicks it to us, like to our players, and we would have been right outside the red zone. This was at the time too when I think the game was 21-9, so it could have been a massive moment. And Jervon Dexter goes to jump on the ball and just completely misses it and literally hits it with his hand out of bounds. And the worst part about it is if you look at that, what Jervon Dexter really should have done is turned back and blocked, because if you look, Nashawn White was coming in to pick it up, where Nashawn White could have picked it up and had a return. And we've seen him return some interceptions. He used to be a receiver. He knows how to read blocks and maneuver in and out of people. So I thought after watching it, but at the moment, Jervon Dexter doesn't know if someone's right on him, so you kind of just got to jump on it. But if you're going to jump on it, dude, jump on the football. I get it, you're a D lineman, you're a big 300-pounder, but come on. You gotta jump on the ball. And then
there's if I'm not mistaken though, I think that's twice he's done that throughout the season.
Yeah, he has. He got trolled on Twitter last night by some of the Bears fan, but you got to jump on it.
Yeah, well, and I remember too the first time it happened, it might have been the Vikings game. I forget which game it was, but it's like, dude, just get on the ball and take possession of it. Don't be thinking about the end zone. That's the thing I think they were thinking about is I'm going to pick it up and I'm going to run and I'm going to get, a little bit of glory. And I get it, being a D lineman, being an O lineman, not a lot of glory in that, right? Not a lot of highlight reels unless you're Darnell Wright and you're pancaking people, but just recover the ball.
Yeah. Well, I think the one you are talking about earlier, he did try to pick it up and he missed it. But that one, he did do the right thing. He did jump on. He just literally misjudged it and he landed on it the wrong way and hit it out of bounds. But I will say too, Lo, the one that I thought was, that one was obviously unacceptable. But the other one was the Packers were up 14-3. Christian Watson dives for the end zone. Yeah. Tyreek Stevenson, shout out. You're a big Tyreek Stevenson believer. Yep. He knocks the ball out at the 1 yard line. There is 3 Bears players right there and 1 Green Bay Packer. And the 1 Green Bay Packer jumps on the ball, and it still counts as a touchdown because they recovered it. Or actually, they brought it back to the 1-yard line where he lost it because you can't advance it.
Yeah.
But there was 3 Bears around that fumble, and I don't know how we don't jump, because that takes off 7 points off the board, and the Bears desperately needed some momentum and that in the first half, and they had none of it. And then the other one was right when the Bears scored, I believe, to make it at the time 21-16. We just scored. We kicked the ball off on a kickoff. Josh Jacobs looks like he's about to house the thing. Luckily, Cairo just steps in front of him a little bit to slow him down. And I forget which special teamer it was, but comes in and absolutely knocks the ball out. That one I'll give a little bit of grace to because there's so many people. It's literally just luck of the draw if it bounces your way. But it was just unfortunate to see, us force 3 turnovers, but really not recover them. So that's one thing I want to talk about. And then also I already kind of hit out. We don't got to talk about it much, but the refs, I'll give, as much as we've given the refs a lot of crap this year, I will say this game, especially it being a playoff game, props to the reffing crew for letting the players, show the results of what the game should be and not you take it into your own hands. I still think, there were some questionable calls for both sides. I didn't see it obviously on the broadcast because I was at the game, and I will admit it, even though I think this rule is soft, that one Austin Booker did hit Jordan Love again right on the crown of the helmet. I will say that should have definitely been a penalty, but there was also one later on late in the game that resulted in that Packers field goal, or in that Matthew Golden touchdown. Jaden Reed, Nahshon Wright's about to get another pick, and Jaden Reed just literally almost tackles Nahshon Wright and is just grabbing him. That's OPI. It would have been 3rd and 25. Instead, the next play, it was only after that, it was still 3rd and 10. And of course, they convert and ultimately end up scoring that Matthew Golden touchdown to take that 11-point lead. But that was another one where it would have bumped them out of field goal range for 1, because they were about just on our side of the territory, and 2, it would have been a 3rd and 25. They would not have converted that. If they would have, it would have been crazy, but I don't think they would have. But nonetheless, the refs did their part. They let the boys play. Let's hop into, though, the Bears statistics individually. We'll start with Caleb Williams, 24 for 48. That is a 50% completion percentage. At this point, I don't care. This guy, it doesn't matter what his completion percentage is. When the plays need to be made, he makes the plays. 361 total yards for him in the air, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 1 sack on the game. When it comes to the rushing, 28 carries for 93 yards. Something that's definitely concerning, and we can talk about this, but the past 4 games now, we have not rushed over 100 yards, and we're going to need the rushing tack going forward. So hopefully, it picks up here and some games down the line. Though. I mean, yeah, but still, you if you look at 28 carries, still a lot. That's only 3 yards a carry, so that's not what we're used to. That's what I'm saying. The past month, it really hasn't been like that, and obviously, when you look at the recent games we played San Fran, it makes sense. It was more of a passing. Just we know how that game was. It was an absolute shootout. The Lions game, we were down 16-0, so you really can't run the ball. But this game, even though we were down a lot, we still did get 28 carries, and 3 yards a carry isn't going to cut it. On the receiving end, we'll just mention some of the people up here, but Colston Loveland, obviously, we talked about him already, the big one, 8 catches, 137 yards, averaged 17 yards a carry for a tight end. Insanity. DJ Moore, 6 catches for 64 yards, and obviously the game-winning touchdown. Roma Dunze back in the lineup this week after dealing with that foot injury. 2 catches for him, 44 yards. Luther Burden thought he was about to have a monster game. He caught like 2 of the first 3 passes. 3 catches for him for 42 yards. And then DeAndre Swift, Kyle Monangai, Olamide Zaccheaus, Durham Smythe all had a catch or 2 in there. But just huge shout out to, I will say, it feels like we get one good DJ Moore game and then one bad one. One good one, one bad one. Hopefully it doesn't continue that way, but we gave him slack last week. This week he deserves his props. obviously scores that game-winning touchdown, which, by the way, that's just a great play call. But I will say DJ Moore definitely needed to make up for that because the play before that, he dropped a 30-yard pass right in his hands in stride. Probably could have ran and at least got it into the red zone, but nonetheless, a couple plays later, Ben Johnson goes right back to him on a beautiful fake screen pass. DJ Moore hits the go route wide open. And I don't know if you saw that catch, but he still almost dropped that wide open. He went to go catch it with his body. It hit off like the top of his helmet shoulder area. Like, come on, let's just use our hands. But he made the play. Got to give him props. He made it when it mattered. So shout out to DJ Moore. But obviously when it comes to the receiving, all the guys getting involved in there. When it comes to the defense, big Jaquan Brisker leading the way, 9 tackles for the Bears. Tremaine Edmonds right there as well with 6 tackles. Austin Booker, another guy you've started to fall in love with this season. 6 tackles as well, 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss, 2 QB hits. Where is Montez? Because he actually did, Dad, I know we talked about this initially after the game. I went back and watched that fourth quarter today on our drive home, and Ben Johnson wasn't lying. That fourth quarter, Montez Sweat was all over. Yep. Here you go. 4 QB hits, 1 pass deflection, only 3 tackles, but Ben Johnson wasn't lying when Montez Sweat was around that football all the time. Before the last play of the game, you probably have to go back and watch it, but there was Jordan Love stepped up in the pocket and was getting ready to throw a shot to the end zone. Montez Sweat comes from behind, almost forces the fumble, but he ultimately grabs Jordan Love's arm, so the ball actually couldn't even get there. Yeah. Like, I'm telling you, if you go back and watch that fourth quarter, Ben Johnson was right. Montez Sweat hit a second gear or a second wind or something, but he was all around the football, getting in the vicinity of Love, which is what we asked for. If you're not going to get a sack, just put a little bit of pressure where he's not standing with his feet completely set, just launching football. So I agreed when he said Montez Sweat in that game ball. I was like, Montez Sweat? I was like, I don't know about all that, but when you go back and watch that fourth quarter, it really is. Special teams, Devin Duvernay, shout out to you again, man. It seems like he's starting to come on late in the season, too. He had a bunch of good returns on kick returns in general, 3 carries, 80 yards, 27 yards average. So that's really good. When it comes to the punt returns as well, 3 carries for 64 yards. That's 21 yards. That's a lot of field position when you think about that, because that is one thing, too. Special teams for the Bears absolutely dominated the Packers. I mean, you talk about the Packers kicker missing 2 field goals, then missing an extra point as well. I mean, that alone could win the Packers the game if he makes one of those. Like, he ultimately didn't show up. It could have been that Chicago weather. But Cairo Santos, the guy that also gets a lot of hate at times, 3 for 3, hit a 51-yarder in the wind. He kicked that right towards us. And I mean, that was in our end zone. And I was a little nervous. And the craziest thing is, everyone talks about how when they're in the 50 yards, Cairo barely gets over. That one was like, it might have been good from 60. I'm not going to lie. It was like well through, and it was right down the middle. 2 for 2 on his extra points. So just shout out to the Bears in general for not giving up. But
the coolest thing, the points for Cairo is great because at least it wasn't the last time we were in the playoffs with the Cody Parkey double doink. But when Cairo stopped the run on the kickoff, I was so excited for him. I was like, praise the Lord.
Yeah, because I'm telling you, if Cairo didn't even make an attempt, like, he did the perfect part. You're not expecting Cairo to tackle a run, especially a running back. It was Josh Jacobs.
But he did his part.
He did his part of getting in the way and making him go through him or run around him, which ultimately slows his tracks down. Yep. And that's when, you know, obviously we knocked the ball out, but don't get the recovery. But still, Cairo he did his job, more than did his job. And like I said, he's got a lot of slack this season, but as I've tried to remind you too, he's broke Robbie Gould's record. So he's a pretty good kicker.
I believe in him.
You can't deny that. I will say, though, if it did come down to like a 40-yard Cairo Santos, like, had to make it, I probably would have not watched. But it it was a good game all around, especially in the second half. Just really got to figure out a way. This Bears team has got to figure out a way, man, to get off to faster starts, because it's just it is like, it's so impressive to watch, but you cannot live like this. Like, especially if they do have aspirations of a Super Bowl, like you cannot. It definitely isn't sustainable, but you can also argue it is because they've done it all year. Like, it is crazy, but it would just be nice to just dominate.
Right.
It would be so much nicer for us fans, like, watching it. Like, I had my buddy that went with us to the game. He's over at halftime. Why the F did I spend money on these tickets? I knew it. Like, it was like that. But then I tried to remind him. I said, Jake, I said, just wait, bro. If they win this game, how much better would it be that we spent this money? And he's like, he's just got his hands in his face, just sitting down. But it was crazy.
I don't know if I told you or not, but the same thing happened to us as we went out. Went to that place that it feels like a Chicago atmosphere when you're there. But halftime, it was like 2 minutes before halftime, and obviously the score is pretty ugly, and we had eaten our appetizer already, and we were considering. Normally we eat an appetizer for the first half, and then at halftime we order like an entree. And I'm like, it's so bad. Why don't we cash out and we'll go home. We'll take the halftime to get home, and we can watch it on the TV from there. This way we don't have to be miserable. And Mama Bear reminded me, they're fourth quarter team and they've done it all year long. We're not leaving. Sit down and tough it up.
I mean, shout out to my girlfriend as well. She was there with us at the game, and I was in a little bit of, I don't know if we can come back from this, but she did say that opening kickoff to start halftime after the half, she did say, she looked at me and my buddy and she goes, listen, guys, I believe, just believe. And I mean, sure enough, I mean, that's all we needed to hear, because after that, that's the biggest thing. It's like the offense was moving the ball. They just weren't capitalizing once they got on the Packers side of the field in the first half. The defense, however, the first half, they couldn't. It was a story of the year. They couldn't stop a nosebleed. And then the second half, all of a sudden, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. I'm like, where was this? Like, as a fan, it drives you nuts. And shout out to CHO. Like I said, I'm a big watcher. I watch them every day. Shout out to Adam Hogue. He brought this stat up. The Bears haven't forced a 3 and out since the Cleveland Browns game, which was about a month ago. That is insanity. You're talking about how many times you have a chance to force a 3 and out. You have a chance every single time you kick the ball to them or punt the ball to them to force a 3 and out. And it hasn't happened since the Browns game. And then all of a sudden, the Packers game, they do 4 of them in a row. It's like, where has this been? And I will say, since we've got through the team stats, and I know you're a big fan of when they win, you can't complain really because they won the game. I will say one thing though. Dennis Allen, so at the game, they do the player walkouts. They announce the starting lineup and all the players run through the smoke. They do their shebang. They purposely save Kyler Gordon for the end, and he comes out and does his Spider-Man crap. I mean, he's acting like he's shooting webs, doing all his crazy stuff. Kyler Gordon didn't play his first snap until the score was 21-3. Unacceptable. If you're going to activate him and announce him as a starter, how is he not playing the first snap of the game? Instead, he doesn't play until it's 21-3. And then all of a sudden, once Kyler Gordon and DeMarco Jackson get in there, all of a sudden this defense starts making plays. So how in the world, like, it just didn't make sense to me. Like, it just didn't make sense. And hopefully now they realize, we're not going to wait anymore, because they can't. You literally can't keep waiting.
Maybe he knew he only had so many snaps in him. He's like, I'm going to have to save him for when I really need him. I mean, that's the only thing I could think of. Instead of, because think about it, if you put him in early in the first quarter or second quarter and he got injured, oh my God, they've been horrible. And obviously, TJ Edwards with his injury and Trapillo. I mean, those are bad things that we're going to have to overcome, but the Bears have done it all year long. We've had a laundry list of injury reports all season. The next man up always finds a way. And you mentioned, DeMarco coming in there after TJ Edwards going out and just having a game. So I feel good about that hole, and we'll see what Theo does filling in for Trapillo and potentially Braxton Jones, who's been idle most of the year. So it's going to be exciting.
Yeah, I will say too, prayers up to TJ Edwards. Obviously, you told me I couldn't see it. All we saw was him get
Bad.
carted off in an air cast, but prayers up to him. Hopefully a speedy recovery, but that's going to be a long one to rehab. Same with Trapillo. I mean, we can talk about the Trapillo one in a little bit, but that one's a lot more concerning long-term wise. But the fans have been asking for DeMarco Jackson to start playing again because they just see that TJ Edwards and Tremaine are ultimately, it hasn't been good enough. And when DeMarco Jackson was in, it looked like he was a lot faster. He's got a little bit more speed to him. Just seemed like he was always around the ball when he was in the game. It sucks that TJ Edwards had to suffer a gruesome injury for him to get in there, but like I said, as soon as he was in the game and Kyler Gordon were in there, that's when you really start to see the defense kind of flip a little bit and start making some plays. I will say, too, Kyler Gordon, he didn't start off too great, but as the game went on, he started to looking like the Kyler Gordon we know. And then on top of that, there's another player who we have all said we know he's a great player, but with the injury he dealt with this year, he just doesn't look like he's 100%. But Jalen Johnson started to make a lot of plays down the stretch too, like talking pass breakups. We started to see him in really tight coverage, forcing incompletions. So honestly, I mean, it's impressive to literally see him. It's a bright sign for the rest of the playoffs. Maybe he's finally starting to find a little bit of a rhythm. So we'll see what happens going forward. But that second half was really encouraging to see out of those guys, because if those guys can remotely get close to 100%, the Bears defense can definitely start getting more into those man-to-man looks. They can start doing more of the exotic blitzes. But it was good to see, man. And shout out to the defense and Dennis Allen for the second half adjustments, because whatever they did, it started to work, and they should go watch some tape on it and figure out how to improve that and keep playing like that, because that's what we're going to need going forward, especially now that we know we're playing the Rams, because, you got Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua out there. But, hey, it could be another repeat of what we saw with San Fran of just a shootout, because as good as the Rams offense is, they also let Carolina almost win that game and put 30
with
on
Bryce
them.
Young.
So
Yeah.
it definitely could easily be a game like that.
That defense, though, for the Panthers had quite a few turnovers. So we'll see how that goes. What's the Bears' record now?
Well, you never really count the playoff record.
No. What's the
They
record
are
right now?
12. They are what you would call 12-6.
What do you mean 12 and 6?
They were 11-6, yeah. They were 11-6 to end the season, 12-6 now.
And there's how many more games till the Super Bowl?
3. 2 to the Super Bowl, 3 to win it.
That'd be
so they could finish
15-6.
15-6, which would get you to your 15 number. I mean, maybe you were never wrong, just early.
There you go. We got to find a way to spin this.
But yeah, we will see what happens going forward. But let's real quick before we get out of here, let's just touch on the Trapillo news. He suffered that patella, I think is what it's called, which is tendon. Worse. It's worse than an ACL injury. So we honestly just got to hope. There was some reports out there about just offensive linemen coming back from that injury, and it's really bad. Like the stats are really bad. Like they're never really the same player.
It changed our draft strategy for next year.
It could really, suck if he doesn't get back to the player he is, because he looked like he had a bright future ahead of him. But like you said, Theo Bennett's played before him, and he's filled in pretty well. He struggles a little bit more in the passing, but Theo Bennett's a lot more in the run game. So who knows? Maybe our run game gets back to what it needs to be with Theo Bennett in there. You never know. But
Or
Nonetheless,
Braxton Jones surprises us all.
yeah, that is right. He's back. So
He's
you
hungry.
never
Maybe
know.
he's learned his lesson.
It could be, but I'd rather, I don't know. We'll see what happens. I doubt Braxton, I think, will come in if Theo gets hurt because they already know what Theo can do. And yes, he does struggle in the pass game at times. But in reality, I mean, when you look at the Rams, they don't got, they got Jared Verse, but they don't got superstar pass rushers. And then on top of it, too, when you look at just some teams going forward, San Fran, if they somehow beat the Seahawks, they don't got elite pass rushers. So in all reality, yeah. Wait, did he actually suffer? I didn't see.
Torn.
Season ending?
Yeah, he's done.
Oh yeah, then Seattle's gonna win probably more than likely next week. But just wanted to touch on that real quick too. And I don't know if you got anything else you want to add before we head out of here. But I mean, it was just a great week. I mean, honestly, a great weekend of football too. All these playoff games have come down to the wire. Literally every single one of them. The Panthers, Rams game, the Bears, Packers game, and then also the 49ers Eagles game just came down to the last play too. And so far watching now, Patriots Chargers game is 0-0 still. Fourth quarter's about to come to an end. So it looks like we're getting blessed by the football gods out there with some good football coming down to the wire. I mean, even the college playoffs were pretty pathetic this week. Just a bunch of blowouts.
Come on, that Indy game was great.
The Indiana game?
Yeah, I loved it.
They beat the brakes off of them.
I know, and I
loved it too, but I'm just saying it wasn't like a good game to watch.
And the Miami game.
I will say I think I am rooting for Miami, but I think Indiana's probably the favorites in that one. They just look unstoppable.
I have my personal reasons.
You want to talk about Ben Johnson changing the culture. Look at what Kurt Signetti's done with Indiana. I mean, it's crazy, but
he's a phenomenal coach.
We got a bunch of good football ahead of us as the football season is closing in fastly on us before next season starts, but we got to enjoy it, and we're going to keep enjoying these Bears every day that we get to keep watching is a blessing. I love it. Hopefully they win next week too, because if they do, I'm telling you right now, we're finding a way to get back up to that city. It will be crazy, and then you can experience the CHGO tailgate, and maybe since you're with me, you can experience one of these games where it's just like, it's literally, I'm not going to have kids, but if I were, this is like how you tell me stories about the 85 Bears and how good they were. Like, this is a story I can tell people in future lifetimes. Hey, the 2025 Bears, you don't understand. Like this is like, it's that crazy. Like in reality, it's nuts.
There's a couple things. One, right? Like I don't watch NBA basketball anymore simply because I witnessed all of the championships the Bulls had. And after Jordan retired or left the Bulls, I just couldn't watch it anymore. Like you've seen peak NBA basketball with Michael Jordan playing, and just I couldn't. I stopped watching it. I struggled to go to a Bears game simply because I did at one time when the Bears played the Packers in the NFC Championship game, bought tickets to that game, and left with the worst feeling in my mouth. One we lost, but two, the pocketbook was a little flimsy after purchasing tickets for that game. And so like I don't know if I can do it. Like we'll see.
You do got to remember, though, you brought it up to me, and I mean, I remember it too, but you brought it up. I went to the Cincinnati this game this year, which you can argue is one of the best Bears games in the regular season. And then I just went to the first playoff win in 15 years where they were down 21-3. And before we get out of here, this is one thing we totally forgot to touch on. Little nugget in the post-game presser with Ben Johnson. In training camp, the first day of training camp, Ben Johnson sat down the team and showed them the Super Bowl between the Patriots and the Atlanta Falcons, where Tom Brady, right now the greatest quarterback of all time, probably the best NFL player of all time. They were down 28-3 at halftime, and Tom Brady, the greatest quarterback there ever is, leads the Patriots back to win the game. And it's not only cool that he showed them that. It goes deeper than this. This is how cool this is. He didn't just show them one of the biggest wins in postseason, biggest comebacks ever. Let's remember who's on our team. Joe Tooney played in that Super Bowl. And on the other side, Grady Jarrett in that Super Bowl. Two players from two different perspectives showed them that game. And then at halftime yesterday, he mentioned it to the team. You remember when I showed you guys this game in training camp? Well, guess what? Now we're here. Let's make a game that is going to go down in history. What a perfect message. And guess what? It will go down in history. When we're gone and the next generations are here, they when these broadcasters are bringing it up, the matchup between the Bears, Packers, they will bring that game up every single time. And for the rest of our lives, we'll hear about it. Like, it was that big of a game. It was just unbelievable. So if they are in the NFC Championship game, you're going to have to come. And as long as I'm there, guess what? That means good things are going to happen. Maybe we might mess the mojo up, but
the best thing that happens is that we're hanging out, we're watching a game together. It'll be a great experience, even if they lose, right? Like that overtakes it all. But I don't know. How many games we went to the Houston's game last year together and we lost. I don't know. I don't know if I want to jinx it.
Yeah, but it's just you have to experience it. I mean, listen, I know there's no good reasons to live in Chicago. There really isn't. There's not really much reason outside of the Bears to live in the city. But listen, I'm telling you, that city this week was electric. Like, the atmosphere is second to none. And how I brought it up earlier in the season, like, how cool would it be to still be living in Illinois, to walk around in your Bears gear? And I got that feeling this weekend. Like, you're walking up and down the streets. It's Bear down. Let's go Bears. It's Chicago. Like, it's everything. You're walking through the Grant Park tunnels. It's F Green Bay. Green Bay sucks. Nonstop, just galore of just what it means to be a Bears fan and how much this football team means to the city. And like I've said many times, yeah, we have the Bulls. Yeah, we have the White Sox. Yeah, we have the Blackhawks. Yes, there's the Cubs. But this city, what they care about the Chicago Bears. Like, that's the one thing that unites the city. And as much as the bad stuff that does go on in this world, just having a weekend like this just reminds you that, hey, it's not all that bad. And this is a place where everyone gets together and we can drop everything outside of what's going on and just enjoy, with your friends, your family, random people you meet. I met so many people this weekend. Where are you from? How'd you meet? Introducing everyone. And it was cool to bring my buddies, some of my buddies that didn't want to go to the game and pay the ridiculous pricing to go to the game, but still wanted to enjoy the Chicago culture, brought them to the tailgate, introduced them to, the CHGO people that I've been watching for 3 years now. And it's crazy. You got to experience it. If I were to move back, that is the sole reason for that feeling. Like, that feeling it's the perfect time to do it, because guess what? This is not going anywhere. We got Ben Johnson. We got Caleb Williams. Like, it's crazy, man. Like, it was must see, and I do not regret any second of paying any dollar this weekend. Not a single dollar, because guess what? Nothing's promised. You never know, and you can't take this with you to the grave. So live it up while you're here. Just enjoy every moment. And I've enjoyed everything this season, from doing the podcast to going to games to arguing with you about players and what we agree on, what we don't agree on. And to all the people out there, our family, our friends, our people watching, we appreciate you. And just being in that CHGO community, I hope one day we can get a community like that and just rally everyone together and get people to get behind us, because that's what it's all about, man. And it's sports. Sports is, I know not everyone's a sports fan, but I don't know how you can't be a sports fan. It's just so cool. It's so fun to watch. But I'm done ranting. I love it. I actually love it. But I think that'll do it. It was a great episode. was a lengthy one today. I know you got to go get some food in your system, but it needed to be a lengthy one. It was a big win, and it's F Green Bay. But
well, one last thing before we cut this off, and I don't know who's listening, who's not listening, how far they're getting in this, but there's certain people that made fun of the 15-2, and we just so happen we're going to be playing their team this coming up. So
whoa. Hey, Gavin, no, relax.
No,
Gavin wasn't one of those people.
I didn't say Gavin.
Oh, okay. I know you're talking
I,
about.
I don't use names. You didn't have to say a name.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I was just making sure you weren't taking friendly fire because Gavin's.
No.
Okay.
I know where everyone stands at.
Yeah.
So it's going to be not only the divisional round, but it's going to have a little extra in there. So it's going to be fun.
I mean, if they do with that, our fantasy chat will be going crazy.
Oh, it's going to be extra.
It will be great. But nonetheless, as always, like, comment, subscribe if you're new here. Please drop, if you love what you're seeing, obviously you don't have to, but if you love what you're seeing, subscribe. We're going to continue doing this. It's been a great first year, and the first year's still going. It ain't over yet. But it's been so much fun. As always, follow us on our socials. I got a lot of content from this weekend, a lot of videos. Got DJ Moore's game-winning touchdown from our perspective. Maybe if I got the guts, I'll post my reaction after the game.
I think
got that on video as well. But nonetheless, super, super, super excited for everything to come. But make sure you follow us on our socials in the description as well to stay up to date with us. But I think that'll do it. We will catch you next week on the pregame show. Obviously, now we know we're playing the Rams, so we'll hop into that matchup next week. But in the meantime, bear down.